Thank you for joining us today to learn about the Tennessee Education Savings Account, ESA, Expense Pre-Approval Process. My name is Sonia McMakin. I'm the Communications Coordinator for the ESA program, and joining me today are Andrea Nichols and Joshua Danner, who are the Fiscal Coordinators with the ESA Finance team. The Tennessee Department of Education's Best for All strategic plan includes a focus on academics, student readiness, and educators. In this webinar, we'll cover the eligibility requirements to participate in the ESA program, the steps in the ESA pre-approval process, and the ESA finance team contacts for more information on the pre-approval process. Now let's take a look at the eligibility requirements for participation in the ESA program. Before we get into the specifics of today's webinar, we wanted to briefly tell you about the ESA program. A Tennessee Education Savings Account, or ESA, is an account for qualifying students to use for specific educational expenses, including tuition and fees, at participating non-public schools. Eligible students must be zoned to attend a Memphis Shelby County District School, a Metro Nashville Public School, a Hamilton County Public School, or a school in the Achievement School District on May 24, 2019. Families must also meet income eligibility requirements. ESA funds can also be used for specific educational expenses at Category 1, 2, and 3 non-public, non-ESA participating schools in Tennessee. Now I'll hand the program over to Joshua Danner, who will explain the ESA pre-approval process.
Now, let's take a look at the ESA pre-approval process. Step 1. First, the ESA team must receive enrollment verification from the school that includes the school fees. Step 2. Next, the ESA team will email the account holder a link to the ESA contract. The contract must be signed and submitted before moving forward with the ESA. Step 3. Then, the ESA team will email the account holder a link to the expense pre-approval form that must be completed and submitted. The email will also include the ESA amount and any rollover funds from the previous year. Step 4. Lastly, the ESA team will review all expense pre-approval forms. Once approved, the account holder will receive a final approval email. You must complete the ESA funds pre-approval form using the link provided by the ESA team. You can use the funds pre-approval guidance form to assist you in completing this form. All ESA funds must be pre-approved before spending. If you have trouble filling out the pre-approval form or determining how to spend your funds, you can also reach out to an ESA fiscal coordinator. ESA funds can be used for the following expenses: tuition, required school uniforms, required school textbooks, computer hardware or technological devices required by the participating school, approved summer educational programs and after-school education, tutoring services, educational therapies or services, approved transportation by a participating school, fees for early post-secondary or after the completion of high school, opportunity courses, exams or exams related to college admission and textbooks required by an eligible post-secondary institution. Please note, school registration fees and enrollment fees are not allowable use of ESA funds. The list of allowable fees is also located in the Family Handbook located on the ESA website. Students enrolled in Category 1, 2, or 3 schools that are not participating in the ESA program can use funds for all expenses except tuition, uniforms, and textbook fees. The list of allowable fees is located in the Family Handbook located on the ESA website. And now I'll hand the program over to Andrea to show you the pre-approval form.
This is what the pre-approval form looks like. We're going to take you through how to complete each bullet on this form. If you are choosing to use the ESA for tuition, your pre-approval request amount cannot be higher than the tuition amount provided by the school or the ESA award amount, including any rollover amounts from the previous year. Please verify these amounts prior to submitting the form. You also cannot request tuition for a semester in which you are not enrolled in the program. Uniform fees must be required at a participating school in order to receive reimbursement. Fees should align with the fees provided by the school. Computer hardware and technology fees must be required by the school. Documentation must be submitted if purchasing equipment outside of what the school provides. Tuition and fees for summer education and after-school education must be academically focused. Approved after-school or summer educational program examples are additional assistance with core subjects or additional learning opportunities such as ACT exam prep or STEM. Childcare is not an approved expense. Tutoring opportunities are an allowable expense if tutoring is provided by an accredited tutoring facility or a Tennessee licensed educator. Documentation must include the tutoring schedule and plan, the teacher's name, and the Tennessee license number of the teacher conducting the tutoring, or provide accredited tutoring facility information. Please note, approval will only be given to tutoring opportunities provided by licensed Tennessee teachers. Funds for educational therapies are designed to improve academic performance through instructional and therapeutic techniques and can only be provided by a department-approved therapist. Documentation must include the name of the therapist, and that name must match all supporting receipts of expenses. When submitting pre-approval requests, please provide all documentation and the amount to be spent on the approved educational therapy. Transportation expenses can only be used for transportation to and from a participating school approved instructional services, for example, therapy or tutoring. Please note, personal transportation expenses are not allowable. These fees must be a fee-for-service provider and cannot be used to pay for the use of personal vehicles. After you complete the expenses on the form, please carefully read the assurances. You will agree to these by signing the pre-approval form. The ESA finance team will then verify the expenses meet the ESA guidelines. If needed, we will require further action by sending an email to the account holder asking for specific corrections and a submission of a new form for review. Pre-approval expenses will be shared with schools by the department. Once you have been approved, you can expend those funds. If you have questions about this process, please contact me, Andrea Nichols, at andrea.nichols@tn.gov or 629-261-4088, or Joshua Danner at joshua.danner@tn.gov or 629-259-1775.
The ESA program team can also help with additional questions concerning applications, Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act waivers, or school enrollment by emailing esaquestions@tn.gov. Thanks for joining us today.